This is your video going over the measurement conversion notes from class today. So, 6th grade students at West Middle School were placed on teams to build race cars in science class. They measured the distance that the race car travels from its starting point. A. First determine the ratio of inches to feet. So inches to feet, I know that in 1 foot I have 12 inches. So inches to feet is 12 to 1. Feet to yards, I know that if I have 1 yard, I have 3 feet. Then yards to feet, all they did was flip the words, so all we have to do is flip the numbers. So yards to feet is 1 to 3. B, if a team's race car travels 14 feet, then how many inches did it travel? So we know 1 foot equals 12 inches. 14 feet. Now we're looking for how many inches that is. So cross multiply and then divide. We're going to do 12 times 14. That answer divided by 1. And we get 168. So 14 feet equals 168 inches. Part C. How could students use a ratio table to convert 72 inches into feet? All they would have to do is set up our little ratio table, put inches to feet, and continue the pattern. 1 foot equals 12 inches. 2 feet equals 24 inches. Continue all the way until you get to 72 inches, and you end up figuring out that it's 6 feet. Okay, so they can use that and follow those patterns to make sure that they have the correct number of feet for 72 inches. A measurement can be converted to present an equal amount with a different measure of unit. Example, inches to feet, grams to kilograms, ounces to pounds. Represent the conversion with a proportion, a unit rate, or a ratio table. In class, we had an extra paper that had a conversion reference sheet to tell us what was going on with different measurements. So, number 1, a bag of flour weighs 4 pounds. The flour is priced per ounce. How many ounces of flour are in the bag? So to set up my table, I know that we're talking about pounds and ounces. Okay, pounds, ounces. So our conversion paper tells us that if you have 1 pound, you have 16 ounces. So 1 pound equals 16 ounces. 2 pounds equals 32 ounces. 3 pounds is 48. And 4 pounds is 64 ounces. The pattern is to always multiply the number of pounds times 16. Okay? So when the question says how many ounces of flour are in this 4-pound bag, we know our answer is 64 ounces. Number 2, the distance between 2 cities is 4 kilometers. 4 kilometers. And we want to know how many meters apart the cities are. So, meters, but that's my question mark. I don't know that yet. So on our conversion reference sheet, it told us if we have 1 kilometer, that we have 1,000 meters. So cross multiply and then divide. 4 kilometers is the same thing as 4,000 meters. Joan is 42 inches tall. What is Joan's height in feet? I know my relationship between feet and inches is if I have 1 foot, I have 12 inches. 2 feet, 24 inches. 3 feet, 36 inches. 4 feet, 48 inches. And you're thinking, wow, you filled in the table and we still don't have our answer. Well, think about it. Our starting measurement was in inches, okay? And I want to go to feet. So now, how do I go from inches to feet? The pattern has to match every single time. Well, looking at that, we're going to divide by 12. So if I have 42 inches and we divide that by 12, we end up figuring out that Joan is 3.5 feet tall. Number 4, a hot chocolate recipe calls for 2.5 gallons of milk. 2.5 gallons. How many quarts of milk are needed for this recipe? So we're looking to see how many quarts are in 2.5 gallons. Our cheat sheet tells us 1 gallon of milk equals 4 quarts. So when you cross multiply, 4 times 2.5, divide that by 1, you get 10. So our answer is 10 quarts. All right, this section we are skipping. Number 5, how many cups are in 8 quarts? So you have to set up your proportion in order to cross multiply. We have 8 quarts, and I want to know how many cups that is. Using our cheat sheet, we know that 1 quart has 4 cups. Cross multiply, and we figure out that 8 quarts is the same thing as 32 cups. Number 6, how many centimeters are in 12 meters? 12 meters equals how many centimeters? My cheat sheet tells me if I have 1 meter, I have 100 centimeters. So cross multiply and then divide by 1, and you get 1,200 centimeters in 12 meters. Number 7, how many pounds are in 96 ounces? So if I have 96 ounces and I want to figure out how many pounds that is, I need to know if I have 1 pound, how many ounces that is. Our cheat sheet tells us if you have 1 pound, you have 16 ounces. So if you cross multiply 96 times 1 and divide that by 16, you end up getting 6 pounds. Number 8, how many yards are in 126 feet? So 126 feet equals how many yards? My cheat sheet tells us if I have 1 yard, I have 3 feet. So cross multiply and divide. 126 divided by 3 means that 126 feet is 42 yards. Number 9, at a local health food store, macadamia nuts are priced at 45 cents per ounce. Taylor measures out 1 3/4 pounds of macadamia nuts. How much will Taylor pay for macadamia nuts? So this is actually a 2-step problem. We have to take the number of pounds. We have 1 3/4 pounds. And we want to know how many ounces that is. If we have 1 pound, we know that that is 16 ounces. So when you cross multiply and divide, you end up figuring out that 1 3/4 pounds is the same thing as 28 ounces. Well, now we know that we have 28 ounces, but that's not our final answer. we want to know how much money she will pay for all of the macadamia nuts. So you have to take all of the ounces that you bought, which was 28, and multiply them by how much each ounce cost. So 0.45. And we end up spending $12.60. And we are skipping number 10.